This is our MC, and he knows that he is in a rom-com. Finally, someone who has broken the matrix. But there is a problem. He is just a background character. His childhood friend, best friend, and even his sister were stolen away from him by the one he thinks is the real MC. So, in exchange, he decided to go after the fake MC's childhood friend. Seems like a fair deal. So please watch the full video and like and subscribe.
Cole had always imagined the world as a fairy tale, one where he was merely a background character, never the protagonist. That belief remained unshaken until a few days ago when he met a quiet, enigmatic girl who would subtly change how he saw everything. In his eyes, the true protagonist of this world was Rai, popular, confident, and effortlessly charming. Around Rai revolved 3 girls, all vying for his attention and wanting to go swimsuit shopping with him despite summer being months away. To Cole, Rai's life seemed like a perfect main character story, filled with attention, charm, and romance, while his own life felt stagnant and dull. Before high school, Ko never imagined that things would turn out like this, that the 3 girls who had once been closest to him would slowly drift away. Azu, his younger sister, now adored Rai so much that she even called him Big Brother instead of Cole. Yuzuki, his childhood friend, who once had a shy insecurity about her chest, now flaunted it openly to attract Rai's attention. Sari, his close friend from middle school, had changed her entire personality, even her appearance, to seem more appealing to Rai. Cole didn't resent any of them. Still, he couldn't help wondering if things might have turned out differently had he made other choices growing up. Maybe he thought he'd picked all the wrong dialogue options in life. Even though he knew this way of thinking was delusional, he accepted it. He wasn't the main character like Rai was. He was just part of Rai's world, existing quietly in the background. During one of those ordinary days, Rai casually turned to Shio, the girl sleeping near him, and asked if she wanted to come along. Shio slowly blinked awake, her expression unfocused. She was Rai's childhood friend, someone known for her calm but distant demeanor. Ko had always thought she seemed cold, her gaze detached, and he had never once seen her smile or laugh. Yet, despite barely talking to anyone, Shio was well liked by everyone. No enemies, no drama. Her serene appearance often drew comparisons to a fairy tale heroine, and Ko could easily tell that Rai had feelings for her. In Cole's eyes, she was the true main heroine of this story. At one point, Shio's eyes seemed to meet him, though he dismissed it as his imagination. A few days later, while Rai and the others were likely out swimsuit shopping, Ko lay on his bed, lost in thought. Wanting to shake off his laziness, he decided to do his homework, only to realize he had left it at school.
Sighing, he made the long trip back, taking nearly an hour. When he entered the classroom, he was surprised to find Shio still there. Reflexively, he called out her name, instantly realizing that doing so meant he was now engaged in conversation. He wondered why she wasn't with the others, but soon realized she was just asleep. Taking a cautious step closer, Ko noticed her peaceful breathing and confirmed she was indeed sleeping. The sun was beginning to set, and a tinge of worry crossed his mind. If she went home this late, she might run into trouble. Deciding it was best to wake her, he leaned in closer. Just then, a gust of wind blew the curtain over her, brushing against her face. As Ko tried to move it aside, his hand accidentally touched her skin, and at that moment she stirred awake. Her eyes opened slowly. Ko immediately pulled his hands away, panicking, and started rambling that it wasn't what it looked like, that he wasn't trying to do anything inappropriate. Flustered, he turned to leave, but Shio stood up too quickly, tripping over her chair. Instinctively, Ko reached out to help her, their hands brushing as he did. Shio grasped his hand tightly and softly exclaimed, "I've caught you." Her personality changed in an instant. The quiet, distant Shio was suddenly warm, expressive, and full of life. She caressed his hand gently, as if confirming something, and began to speak freely, with none of her earlier hesitation. She admitted that she often froze up in front of people, unable to express herself properly. But somehow, she could talk normally when she was with him. The whirlwind of events left Ko stunned. His idea of Rai's world's main character started to crumble. Maybe the story wasn't as simple as he thought. Maybe it wasn't Rai's world alone, after all. The next morning, Ko woke up with the previous day's events still vivid in his mind. At school, he greeted his friend Kishi, who grumbled in return, wondering how Rai managed to be so popular when his only remarkable quality was his looks. Ko silently agreed, thinking that good looks alone shouldn't be enough to build a harem. Not long after, Shio entered the classroom. She was back to her usual calm and stoic self, composed, beautiful, and distant. He reminded himself that he and Shio lived in completely different worlds.
During lunch break, Shio approaches Ko with an annoyed pout. She reminds her that they're supposed to be friends, yet he hasn't tried talking to her at all. Ko explains that he was simply being considerate. Since Shio is shy, he didn't want to approach her in public. While that may be true, Shio admits she would actually prefer if he did. Still, she's relieved to know that he wasn't ignoring her out of dislike. She had feared that he regretted their friendship. Ko reassures her that he doesn't hate her, and hopes that they can get along well from now on. Shio then suggests that they start calling each other by their first names to build a closer bond. Tugging lightly on his sleeve, she urges him to call her by her first name. So he does. But even though she asked for it, hearing it proves too much for her little heart to handle. Flustered, she promises to call him by his first name once her heart calms down. For lunch, Shio drags Shio to the back of the school. She notices that all he's eating is a melon bun. When she learns that it's all he ever eats, she offers him some of her more balanced meal. Ko insists that there's no need, but Shio won't take no for an answer. She even tries to feed him a piece herself. Ko feels this might be a bit too intimate for friendship, but perhaps it's normal for Shio. Eventually, he gives in and lets her feed him. He's so nervous, though, that he barely even tastes it. Realizing what she just did, Shio blushes in embarrassment. She admits she's always wanted to try something like that, and hopes to do similar things with him in the future. Despite having only talked for a day and a half, Ko feels a strange sense of peace around Shio. He had long accepted that his high school life would be dull and uneventful. Teasingly, Shio asked if his heart was pounding when she fed him a bite of her lunch. He denies it, but she reminds him that her ears can hear everything, including his heartbeat. Ko recalls the story she told him the day before. Shio has an incredibly sharp sense of hearing, one that allows her to pick up on sounds normal people can't detect. She explained that every person produces a unique sound. Gentle people create clear, soothing tones, while frightening or unpleasant people emit harsh, grating noises, like nails on a chalkboard.
Shio's hearing lets her judge a person's character based on the sounds they give off. It's somewhat like synesthesia, the rare condition where people can hear colors, but in her case, it's reversed. As she said earlier, some people emit unbearable noise. She can even hear the grinding sounds of lust or jealousy, things that are difficult for her to bear. That's why she believes their meeting was fated. She's normally hypersensitive when asleep, which makes it even more surprising that Ko managed to get so close to her before she woke up. Ko thinks she's exaggerating, but Shio insists that the sound he gives off doesn't make her anxious. She compares it to the soft flow of a river or the gentle chirping of birds, a sound she truly adores. Noticing that Ko seems a little flustered, she smiles faintly. He scratches his head and points out that she spends time with Ryu more often, but Shio quickly reveals that Ryu gives off an unpleasant sound. Suddenly, they hear footsteps approaching. Shio can tell exactly who it is, and she quietly tells Ko that she needs to hide. Ryu and Azu turn the corner and immediately spot both Shio and Ko nearby. Ryu's expression hardens as he demands to know who Ko is and what he's doing with Shio. He accuses Ko of planning something shady by taking her to such a secluded spot. Ko, confused and caught off guard, doesn't even understand why the two of them are here. Ryu shakes off Azu and rushes to Shio's side, leaving Azu with a disappointed look. Ko glances at his sister and instantly realizes that she must have brought Ryu here to confess her feelings. That's why she led him all the way to this place, but unfortunately for her, Ryu only has eyes for Shio. Azu had gathered all her courage to come this far, and Ko doesn't want to be the reason her love life falls apart. He quickly tells Ryu that he didn't lay a finger on Shio. Ryu doesn't seem convinced, so Ko repeats himself firmly. He didn't do anything. But before things can escalate, Shio suddenly starts to overheat and feels faint. Ko immediately remembers what she said earlier, that Ryu's sound is dreadfully unpleasant. It's at such a level that his mere presence is enough to unsettle her. Ko blocks Ryu's arm and volunteers to take Shio to the infirmary, but Ryu accuses him of being the one who made her sick in the first place. He once again orders Ko to move aside, yet Ko stands his ground.
Shio tries to go to the infirmary on her own. Ryu tells Azu to take her there. Ko tries to reason with him, pointing out that Azu has something important to tell Ryu, but he refuses to listen. Azu reluctantly follows his order and helps Shio toward the infirmary. Ko makes it his duty to protect Shio as much as possible. He asks Ryu why he's interfering so much, even though he and Shio aren't even dating. Ryu insists that it's his sole responsibility to protect her. He claims that she's sickly and a loner, someone only he can truly understand. Among heaven and earth, he says proudly, I alone am the honored one. Ko almost recoils in disgust. He knows for certain that every word coming from Ryu's mouth is a lie. Ryu couldn't be more wrong about Shio. She might be shy and nervous, but she's far from helpless. She can smile and laugh just like anyone else. Ko now sees Ryu for what he truly is, a self-righteous, holier-than-thou protagonist who believes the world revolves around him. He's a good guy, but also a bad one. Ryu refuses to let Ko stay around Shio, but Ko's current concern is finding a way to defuse the situation. His plan is to erase himself from the narrative. He knows that Ryu is wary of him because he appeared out of nowhere and made himself a threat. The solution is simple. Ko must appear insignificant in Ryu's eyes. He takes a deep breath and prepares to create a convincing story that will allow Ryu to defeat him. Ko claims that he was only trying to confess to Shio. His gamble pays off. Ryu now assumes that Ko's romantic pursuit failed and becomes more confident. Ryu continues to feed Ryu's ego by pretending that he's completely out of Shio's league. Everything goes according to plan. Ko becomes fully immersed in his role as a background character. Ryu, satisfied that Ko no longer poses a threat, extends his hand in friendship instead. Given how things played out, Ko is certain that Ryu will never bother Shio again. Ryu feels a twinge of resentment when he realizes Ryu didn't even bother to remember his name. He accepts his hand anyway, keeping his composure until Ryu walks away. Only after Ryu is gone does Ko finally let out a sigh and pound his fist against the pavement. Even though acting like a background character worked, it was still a shameful display.